Could 40 days change your life? Yes, it can. We'll show you how to combine the art and the science to help you live a better life. All right, welcome to week 2 of H40. So how's it going so far? Hopefully you've been able to get in the swing of having a morning routine and practicing ATOM each day. By now, your body should be starting to adjust to your new wake-up time, and it should be getting a little bit easier, so keep it up. And this week, we're gonna turn to the first big lever that we can pull when it comes to improving our physical and even mental health. We're gonna talk about what we eat, because we have a huge opportunity here. And it's not a diet opportunity, it's an energy opportunity. Most of us are putting the wrong things at the wrong times in our bodies every day. And for that reason, I think you're gonna love what we have to say here. Your body wants to heal itself, and it wants to optimize itself, but you just need to get out of the way. You need to quit kicking it back down the hill. So imagine that you love kids, and like me, you almost always stop when they're selling lemonade on the side of the road. Well, today you see a couple kids packing everything up after a long, hard day's work, and they're crossing the street ready to pull their wagon up the big hill back home. And they're really struggling. So you get out, and instead of helping, you just kick their wagon back down the hill, right? You wouldn't do that. So you wouldn't do it to someone you don't even know, so then why are we doing it to ourselves? Food shouldn't be self-medication. It should be health. We don't really believe in diets around here, and we're not gonna be talking about calorie deficits or counting macros. But if you wanna approach it that way, then that's fine. And we're not going to prescribe a super specific diet. We think it's a lot easier than that. So let's get into it. EAT stands for energy, attention, and timing. We want you to start eating more for energy and less for pleasure. I want you to start paying attention to how food is going to make you feel. Does it make you crash? Does it make you feel bloated and full, or does it give you brain fog? And then, like a good comic, timing really does matter. There's been some remarkable ideas, some science going sort of mainstream over the past couple of years with timing or order in which you eat your foods. So let's first talk about eating for energy, because this is much simpler than you think. So let me illustrate with just a quick story. So I read a book called Blue Zones about 10 years ago, written by Dan Buettner. And he traveled around the world visiting areas that had the highest percentage of centenarians, so people who live over 100 years old, which is remarkable in and of itself. So he visited Okinawa, Japan, Sardinia, Italy, Costa Rica, Icaria, Greece, and Loma Linda in California. So these are some of the healthiest places on earth because people are living the longest. And they're not just having a long lifespan, they're having a long health span. So I think if we look at it, life expectancy in the United States is like mid-70s, but health expectancy is only the mid-60s. Why would anyone want to spend the last 10 years of their life in poor health, dealing with chronic ailments or illnesses? These people in the blue zones routinely live past 100, and they're not going to the gym. They're not taking 100 supplements, and they're not doing crazy diets. Here's what they are doing. They're moving, they're walking, they're gardening, they're doing housework. Many of these areas are mountainous, so they're constantly moving up and down stairs and hills. And they're eating food that's actually giving them energy. It's not taking it away. They're farming and they're growing natural food, eating almost no manufactured food. And they're hanging out with people that they love, even drinking a few glasses of wine in the evening. They're living a great life, and this is a great book. I highly recommend it, because when you eat for energy, you are going to eat simple, whole ingredients, like regeneratively raised meats or pasture-raised eggs, fatty fish, lots of fiber, good vegetables, whole foods. A good rule of thumb is if you have to read a lengthy ingredient label, then think twice before putting it in our mouth. Whole foods are the way to go for sustained energy. But does this mean that you can never enjoy a piece of pizza or a hamburger and French fries? No, that's not at all what we're saying. And as a matter of fact, we're gonna be talking a little bit more about how we integrate eating for pleasure all throughout the week with carb fasting. I love carbs. Contrary to popular belief, carbs are actually good for you, and you definitely don't want to avoid them forever. But when you alternate hours or days in which you're gonna eat carbs, and it might even be a low, medium, or high carb day, it's amazing what that does for your metabolic flexibility. So who here needs to lose some weight, or more important, fat? Especially the really unhealthy stuff, the visceral fat. I think almost all of us. So now, this is one of the biggest and most important ideas in H40. Your metabolic system is the foundational system in your body. How well your metabolism is working will dictate how healthy you are. It's as simple as that. So many other systems can be dramatically improved if we just improve our metabolic system, our metabolic health. So when we start to see our metabolism as this dynamic fluid process, it's going to open up a whole new realm of possibility. Instead of feeling like we're stuck with the metabolism that we may have right now, we can start to explore how our choices each day and our habits improve that process in real time. So you might be asking yourself, what is metabolic flexibility? Metabolic flexibility is the body's ability to just move back and forth between using different macros for fuel. So proteins and primarily carbs and fat. So we actually want our bodies to be able to do that. And there's a simple reason why that's not happening, because the body actually wants to use carbs first for energy. And most people have no problem eating a ton of carbs all day long. So they have very little metabolic flexibility. Their body is never shifting to fat burning mode. I think it's so important to understand what happens when we eat carbs. So here goes. The body immediately converts carbs to sugar in the bloodstream, and that's why your blood glucose is going to increase, and sometimes pretty dramatically, even spike. The pancreas is then going to produce insulin, and this hormone helps the cells throughout the body use this glucose for energy, like right now, or it's going to store it in the liver or the muscles as glycogen to be used as energy later on. But what really happens is that we just keep eating more carbs, and the liver and the muscles are full of glycogen, and then it's just converted to fat. That's why they say carbohydrates are actually the main source of body fat. Hey, real quick, I just wanted to let you guys know that if you're not opted into H40 yet, then click the link in the description. It's 40 days to better physical and mental health. I think most of us watching right now, we want to lose weight or lose body fat. So what if there's a way that we could do that? And then at the same time, increase our energy levels and maybe even reduce the bloating and the brain fog that we feel. And what if we could even add some muscle if we're weight training? That may sound too good to be true, but it's not. It's all possible if we eat well and increase our metabolic flexibility, and we can do that through carb fasting. You may have heard of the term carb cycling. This is rotating days in which we eat low, mid, and a high number of carbohydrates. But carb fasting is a little different. Our main idea here is that we try to get the body to switch to fat burning mode by having, let's say, 24-hour periods where we're very much limiting our carbs. I look at it this way. Right now, my main goal is to maintain or slightly increase my lean muscle mass. And I want to lose a little body fat, especially the visceral fat. And most importantly, I want to have a ton of energy. So I carb fast 2 to 3 days a week. I've tried keto and paleo before, and I lost some weight, but also lost a ton of energy and just found them to be unsustainable long-term. And I'm definitely not trying to talk you out of doing these diets if you think that's going to work for you, but I would highly suggest that you try carb fasting first. I believe that dieting is hard, even a little bit crazy. By limiting my carb intake to almost nothing 2 to 3 days a week, a couple things are happening. I'm able to sustain this because I'm not going that long without carbs. So I'm not having these intense cravings. And I'm running my stores on empty. I'm getting rid of all the sugar in my bloodstream and my liver and my muscles, and then forcing my body to improve its metabolic flexibility because it's switching to burning fat almost exclusively for a 1 to 2 day period. Maybe you've seen this little device online. It's called a Lumen, and it measures whether your body is using fat or carbs for energy at any single moment in time. You simply breathe in and then breathe out, and it measures the carbon dioxide in your breath. It's going to give you a pretty accurate gauge of what fuel source that your body is currently using, like right now. When I don't eat carbs for around 24 hours, I notice that my body switches to almost complete fat burning mode. I know this because it's really the only thing that I've changed in my health routine over the past couple of months, and it's allowed me to lose 12 pounds, still maintain strength and energy at the gym, and just feel great. And then on days that I eat carbs, I just try to be smart and eat complex carbohydrates, whole foods. But I definitely don't deprive myself of regular food or even junk food like pizza or cheeseburgers once in a while. So here's how you could approach this. You could skip carbs for just one meal a day if you don't have that much weight or fat to lose. Or you could pick, let's say, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday as your carb fasting days. And this is gonna give the body a chance to actually switch to ketosis or fat burning mode. That's what I do. Or if you have excess weight to lose and you're really committed, you could choose to carb fast, let's say 5 days a week, and then enjoy carbs on the weekend. We've found for many people that this kind of approach is just much less demoralizing. They can actually do it. You can fast from carbs today, knowing that tomorrow you're going to be able to have some. It's more doable. And let's say on days before doing a tough workout, we might actually eat more carbs to fuel that performance and replenish our glycogen stores. For me, I've been pretty committed to my health, pretty committed to going to the gym. But only over the past 6 months or so have I realized that I've only been interested in my diet. And when I started carb fasting and just adjusted my diet slightly, then everything seemed to fall into place. Now, let me explain attention, because I think this is one of the things that, like Tony and others on my team have found to be extremely helpful, is just paying attention to what you're eating. Instead of maybe eating that entire bag of Doritos or that whole row of Oreos, maybe you just have a couple, and you're gonna realize that, you know what? If I keep going, I'm gonna feel like crap after this. So just get in the habit of looking at everything you're putting in your body. That's paying attention. Fast forward just a few minutes or maybe a few hours and just think of how you're gonna feel. How is this food gonna make a direct impact into my energy levels or brain fog or just how you feel in the moment? Think of it this way. Most of us have food in our mouth for about 17 minutes each day. 17 out of 1,440 minutes. What we decide to put in our bodies during those 17 minutes is gonna have a dramatic impact on how the rest of our life plays out. Those 17 minutes are gonna determine the quality of our physical health. It's gonna directly affect the quality of our mental health. And it's absolutely gonna regulate our energy levels. It's just basically gonna make us feel good or bad for the rest of the day. My mom used to say, a moment on the lips, a lifetime on the hips. And that's pretty dang accurate. You do not have to be disciplined for 24 hours each day. This is just so important. You could be disciplined maybe for 10 or 12 minutes more each day than you are right now, and you're gonna see your health improve dramatically. I think that's just such a cool way to think about it. So EAT stands for energy, attention, and timing. So is timing, or the order in which you eat your food, really that important? Yes, I think this matters more than you think. Jessie Inchauspé, she's a French biochemist. She wrote a book a few years ago called The Glucose Revolution. And she basically proved that if you eat your carbs last in a meal, that your blood sugar is going to actually spike the least. But what do most of us do? We usually eat carbs first, or sort of we mix it in with everything else. And that's really what causes the body to become insulin resistant. And we have these massive blood glucose spikes, which are just not healthy for our metabolism and almost every other system in the body. She's written a few best-selling books, and her ideas are becoming more mainstream. She's not a big fan of diets. She is a big fan of eating healthy and controlling the timing or the order in which you eat your foods. So I've used one of those continuous blood glucose monitors off and on for the last few years. And I can absolutely 100% agree with what she's saying, what she's finding and testing. And if you can avoid those spikes, you can avoid the brain fog. You can avoid mood swings. You can avoid just feeling bloated and terrible after you eat. I even take a supplement called berberine, which is a tree or plant root. This dramatically reduces blood sugar spikes, and I'm gonna talk more about that in the coaching call. It's pretty amazing. So Jessie says to eat fats and proteins first, and then carbs. And then you can just watch your health improve. And oh yeah, when it comes to timing, if you can stomach apple cider vinegar, then take it 15 minutes before a meal. And that's really gonna lower your blood sugar spikes. And one last thing with timing is that there's been this myth that you should stop eating 2 to 3 hours before bedtime. Well, that's actually truth. Your metabolism slows down at night during sleep. This natural decline is part of our body's circadian rhythm. This is gonna regulate multiple physiological processes, including our metabolism. And at night, our body shifts from the energy consuming processes of like digesting food and being active to more restorative processes like muscle repair and memory consolidation. And when we eat just before bed, really that interferes with these natural rhythms. And even worse, because our metabolism slows down during sleep, any calories that we consume right before bed, they're more likely to be stored as fat directly rather than used for energy. So this week, your action step is to take a look at your worksheet, which is gonna have a food and a mood tracker. For the next 7 days, I want you to pay more attention to what you're eating and how it's making you feel. So it's real simple. You're just gonna write down what you ate and then check in about an hour later and jot down how you feel. So do you have high energy, sluggish? Are you happy, down? Just start to pay attention. And then beyond that, on your worksheet, you're gonna commit to which days are gonna be carb fasting days for you. It can be as few or as many as you want, but jot it down and commit to it. Or if you're super committed, maybe people call you crazy, then eliminate sugar, alcohol, and gluten from your diet for the next 40 days and just see what happens. That's doing H40 the crazy way. You're gonna make it a point to eat for energy, pay attention to everything that you're putting in your body, and remember, that doesn't have to mean that you're gonna actually eat totally perfectly for 7 straight days. That's doing H40 the crazy way. So that's it for this week. Excited to see you on the coaching call. And if you like this information, just hit like, subscribe, and the notification bell to join our channel and never miss an update.